Good morning. Happy Monday morning, everybody. We finished clicking around some buttons. Happy Monday. Happy wonderful start to your week. I would apologize for being late, but a wizard is never late. They arrive precisely when they mean to. But I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. You got to relax. You got to rest. Clearly somebody didn't. Oh God, there's my screen. There we go. Goodness gracious. We'll see how everything looks this glorious morning. For anyone that's just stopping in today that did not get to join us yesterday morning, we are going to be stitching together one of the tank tops from that McCalls M7610 pattern we made the shorts out of the other day. But once I get my wits about me, get my hair in a position that won't bother me. Also, good morning, Grammy. We are doing one of the tank tops from this pattern. So very exciting. We're actually going to use more or less almost everything out of this. The only thing that has super different instructions at this point are the joggers. So, but we are working on this one. I'm going to try and squeeze it in between everything with a contrast panel in the back. And if you were here yesterday, we had a super fun time dealing with that because I thought I had enough scrap fabric to not have to do silly things. That was a lie. We had to do lots of silly things. But it is all good. So we have our fabric already cut out. I was a little naughty yesterday. Not get my thread ready to go. Everything else is pretty much set up like it was yesterday. I was going for a minimum effort, maximum slay situation. Everything else fully accomplished. Did not get the thread situated the right way though. So, but what I'm going to pick for this is it's pink on pink. I might need to go fill up my water. Should have been crazy dry mouth in the morning. I had this really pretty pink in this box. Let's just look in the thread box and make sure there's not something else we'd rather use. Oh my gosh, you silly creature. I love this extension cord because it's the longest one in the house. But the sockets are loose. I don't know. If there's any electricians that know how problematic that is, I'd be happy to listen. It's not a breakable amount of a problem. It's sometimes if you touch it the wrong way, things will disconnect as if they don't care. Like one of them is really loose, the other one's not that loose. Good morning to you too. I thought that was the small child screaming. It was just the cat. Wild behavior for 6:48 in the morning. Oh my gosh. Yes, you. That was wild, sir. That was crazy. Ooh, I think we might use this darker pink actually because it's a cotton thread. I think we will. It's a little darker. Let me get this under the actual light. Oh, there's the lighter version. Oh, there we go. Like, I know if we just, skip around in here, something will pop out. Though that is really light, too. Or dark. Oh my god, I can't. We're just going to use the pretty super soft pastel pink. Oh, hold on. Oh my god, are you made one! Hooray! Hi, welcome. I'm so tired. I'm so glad you're here. Hang on, I will finish scrolling back through the chat like I was doing. Goodness gracious. I am so unrested, but we're not gonna get into that today. But I'm so glad you finally made it one. This is so exciting. Genevieve and Billy were pestering you to go out the door this morning to the garden. I believe it. I do wonder, like how much mental stimulation they're getting in the house from just having so many new smells coming through. Because everything that we've brought in the house is probably still lingering in their noses a little bit. So probably having a good time. Okay. Hold that thought. I swear I don't think this cat ever used to go to the litter box so early in the morning, but I noticed he's made a point the last couple of streams to be very loud at the litter box. So maybe. Alright, I thought I had a pink one. What do you mean I have 2 empty bobbins? Sorry, I could have sworn I had a bobbin that already had some pink on it, but I must have gone through it. We must have used it all. That's so exciting. I thought I could have sworn after that whole we had a whole conversation about it one morning with just my woes and soapbox of bobbin thread. Because I don't have a lot, and I kind of do that on purpose so I don't end up with a hoarder's nest worth of bobbin with a bunch of different lengths of different threads on them. I don't like it, so I do my best to not have it. And apparently I have been keeping good on my thoughts and feelings because I suddenly have 2 empty bobbin casings, so there you go. Okay, we're going to have to plug this into something else, I think. That's so funny, because it's like, the power button's on. Whatever. You know what? I have a solution for this. We're not going to talk about whether it's a good solution or not. And before someone suggests just plugging it into the laptop, the one that makes sure you can see my face is plugged into the laptop. Though the cord is longer. But then this cord would have to travel in front of me, and that's just not a good time. Just need to make sure I can still plug in the... There we go. Alright, if that is any sign of how if everything's going to go according to plan today. We should all agree at this point, nothing is going to go to plan, and that's okay. That should keep me from having an aneurysm over that light cutting on and off. Alright. Good Lord. This thing is stuck. One more time from the top. Yesterday, we worked on cutting out pattern pieces. Today, we are working on sewing together this blue one. I can't remember where my finger is. Boop. And the one extra thing that we're going to have to do that's not going to be in the instructions while I get this zhuzhed around is for one of the pieces. It's only a 3 pattern piece thing, which is great. But for one of them, I didn't have enough fabric to cut one big piece. Because you're supposed to like cut it on a fold and then unfold it and then it would be one big piece. I didn't have enough to do that. So we had to jerry rig it and basically cut 2 pieces. And what I did was I made a seam allowance on that fold line. So I gave it a little bit extra wiggle room when I cut it. So we can stitch down the middle and make it one big pretty piece today. Because I was using those daggone scrap pieces of fabric. Gosh dang it. There's not a lot of blue left on this. What are we going to use? I don't really want to use a fresh bobbin for this. Because I have so little of that pink left that I probably won't be needing this pink for a while after this. So we're going to wrap it in with the blue one that we just finished with yesterday. So I've got a better chance of using up that last little blue. I'm going through a whole thing of pink. Somehow my presser foot ended up on the other side of the table. We had a very relaxing day yesterday, and usually what that means is the small child completely invades my space. Other way. So what you can't see is the myriad of small child toys that have ended up strewn into the distance. And also on my other side table. That's probably enough. I'm not filling the bobbin up because we're probably not going to need the whole thing. Perfect. All right, our bobbin is done. Bobbin is in. Slowly waking the rest of the way back up. And for anyone that has vertigo, please bear with me for 2 seconds. I'm about to move something. If you're sensitive to movement, now's the time to close your eyes. Shove, shove, shove. There we go. I had to move my thing around and then also make sure it's like counterbalanced against the table underneath because I love my light. Sometimes it wants to fall over and not participate. But it kind of needs to participate. So our funky little overcast looking stitch we used last time, I think would work okay for this. I don't know, I kind of want to try one more thing. That one. Because it didn't look bad, but it also didn't look quite right, and I'm wondering if I forgot to change a setting. Like, don't get me wrong, it held together great. My shorts lasted the entire full day that I wore them, and they're perfect. And we will do the washing machine test today. I'm just gonna cut off I'm gonna cut off a squirrely section of the plain pink fabric real quick just to check something. So I want to see if I change the width setting, if that gives me a little bit different of a stitch situation. And forewarning for everybody, this is going to be a lot of stitch a little bit, pressing for hems. Stitch a little bit, pressing for hems. That's the whole day today. There we go. Okay, so I didn't have the settings set completely right last time. So last time we ended up with like trapezoids alternating because I didn't change the width setting to give you the special stitches. I fixed it. So now we have true overcast stitching today. Hooray! So this is your reminder. If you're gonna try your special stitches on your machine, make sure everything is turned where it's supposed to be. So for mine, I have a Molly A-line series. So this is going to be this is probably going to be a little niche. There might be some other baby locks that have a similar situation. But on my length knob, it has 0, buttonhole, 1, 2, 3, 4, a crap ton of dashes, special stitch. So the length on my, I think I can turn this and you'll be able to see it. Let's try. I'll have a little show and tell. So on my length, it goes 0, buttonhole, 1, 2, 3, 4 dashes, special stitch. So this lets me use all these dark brown or light brown stitches down here. So you have your regular stitches, your straight, your zigzag, your dashy zigzag. These down here are your like special for clothing, either decorative stitches, overcast stitching, like also could probably be some form of an overcast. This is a smocking stitch I found out, where it makes this grid pattern. It's very cool. You use that for yeah, like stretchy tops, dress things. You need to look a certain way. I'm not sure how to like describe that any better in the immediate moment. But I have to change my length. The selector is the same. It's still the same letters as what are up here. And then the width is what I did not change last time. I left it whatever I freaking felt like because I thought I should be able to decide the width of it myself. Wrong answer. On this machine, it's supposed to be turned all the way up to 5. And we know that because y'all probably won't be able to see on screen, but underneath the 5, there are 2 little dashes, which resemble our 2 little dashes from here, and our 2 little dashes that are on something else. Something else has 2 little dash lines on it. That means it's our special stitch selection. So, if you have a Molly A-line, make sure your length is set to the SS. Make sure your selector is on the stitch you want. That's in the brown section, and then make sure your width is set to 5. Okay, so now that we're all caught up on that one, we need the actual pattern pieces. So, how do I want to do this? How do I want to stitch that together? I think I'm actually going to use I'm just going to use the overcast stitch to do our Frankenstein pieces together. And I pre-pinned them yesterday, and we are not going to be doing any type of real ironing for these pieces. They're like comfy, stretchy, and we got to stretch them and stuff a bunch anyways. But this is our Frankenstein piece. So the way it was supposed to go was this edge was meant to be cut on a fold. So it would unfold into one giant piece. What we're going to do is stitch these 2 separate pieces together, so it'll still do the same thing. So it'll be all right. And that the seam line will be hidden behind the other piece of back fabric, so who's gonna know? No one's gonna know. Except for y'all, and don't go telling on me if you see me in public. If you see me in the streets, don't. Let the people believe what they want to believe. But I cut about 5/8. We're probably going to stick right on that 5/8 because worst case scenario, we take a little bit off the other edges. They were just Oh, no, never mind. I remember what I did. I specifically pinned this on one of the square lines because that's what I had measured to when I cut it. Man, I was doing so many kind things for myself yesterday. Oh! Other than set up my coffee machine for this morning. That I did not do. But it's okay, because I at least remembered to fill it up with water yesterday. Which is half the battle. So before I start stitching this, because this is we're moving left and right a whole lot, my needle is all the way to the left, so I'm making sure I'm as close to where the seam allowance actually is. Otherwise it's going to be off and stitched too close to the right, and then it won't be the size that I want it to be. So. Just a cheeky little back stitch. That just sounds like it's going too smoothly. I'm just checking to make sure my bobbin actually caught. Okay, it did. It did! Sometimes I forget when you use silky thread for sewing. This machine likes it. It doesn't tear it up or anything, so sometimes it just makes the experience really, really quiet and it confuses me. And when things are too quiet, it makes me concerned. So I'm always like, not that she's normally egregiously loud, I just was expecting a little kickback because we didn't sew yesterday. So the machine got to sit for 2 days, so I was expecting a little difficulty from the lady. But no, not my pretty girl. Yes, my machine is a girl. She uses she, her pronouns. She is. It's like, I don't know, I've always given like gender to random inanimate objects, especially ones that I use on a regular basis. I've done this since I was a kid. Like, ironically and unironically. This is my pretty girl. But it also helps when I'm troubleshooting and when I need something to work just right. I don't know, it's all psychosomatic at the end of the day, but it's fun. And I did remember from our little notes when we were pre-reading the instructions, that song is always too loud. It's a good song, but it's always just the EQ, the post-editing, it's just a little bit louder than everything else. But what I was saying was I did remember from our notes when we were pre-reading the instructions, we are still stretching the fabric from both sides of the needle as we're going down. Just like with the shorts. Okay. So now we have one giant piece of fabric. Hold on, hold on. Boom. And it's not even that, like, the squares on the back are not even close to lined up. Well, they're kind of close. Unintentional, mind you. I was prepared for this to not be close at all. I was ready for it to just be jank. It could have been janker. Could have been. So I'm just going to quickly trim the seam allowance out really fast. And then we'll put the instructions and get to the actual step one. This was just the... I'm going to use my pinking shears because I love my fabric scissors, but we're going to use the pinking shears that have the diagonal on there and get just as close as we can without actually cutting the seam allowance. Normally I just use them if we're doing like a regular stitch, like a straight stitch, or like on a zigzag. It looks good. And all this does is it helps keep the fabric from unraveling. So do we truly need it for this because we used overlock stitch? Which is what is on the inside of your clothing if you go looking? No, probably not, but we're gonna do it anyways. I'm choosing to experiment with my personal stylistic choices. I'm feeling very experimental lately. I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's the moon. The moon. But yeah, I have a good feeling that we can probably finish this today. And as always, we have to go through and make our notches and circles as we go. I've got my cute little pink color pencil. They were hidden under stacking blocks. Alright, so we're doing top B because it does matter. There are 4 different tops in here. They're all styled a little bit differently, and some of them use a different piece. So it does matter. Make sure we're reading the right one. But I preemptively folded up my instructions so I would be forced to read the right one. So things that are moderately helpful. Okay, so first step is to ease stitch side edges of front one above the notches. So I will show you the picture. And it has us stitching these ease stitches on the correct side of the fabric. We know this because it is filled in instead of being blank. But our ease stitches are just going right here, just below where the armpit goes. And we're putting them there because that's going to be one of those tricky little areas where we might have to make some pulling adjustments to make sure everything lines up like we want it to. That is not this piece. This is going to go off to the side for a little bit. That is actually I'm calling it the peekaboo piece because it's behind the actual back panel. That we want the basic front, which is in this very glorious pink. So before we do those ease stitches, I'm going to make a little bit of room. And we're going to cut our notches out, and I might have to pull out my blue chalk to make our circle marks. So I grabbed this and then just pink on pink is probably not gonna. Am I gonna be able to see that in 30 minutes? Probably. It's just dark enough. I don't have to go digging for the other chalk. Oh, but y'all won't be able to see it. Where'd that other basket go? There. Make it blue. I do think Aurora's dress looked best in blue, but that's just my opinion. It drove me nuts as a kid that they never just went, oh, we'll just make it purple. That way everybody wins. That was also the aggressive fairness in me as a small child. And I am going to kind of sort of weight this down. Doop. Doop. Because of course things like to shift and move around when you're not looking at it in the middle of the night. Also cats. Also cats. And if you will recall, that top corner is going to be a little difficult for us today anyways, because I did have to make a very quick decision on if I cared about one little notch of it being gone. Because again, we were going through the scraps. And we had to make some drastic measures. So all I'm going to do is just quickly toss in some notches wherever we have them. Make sure I'm cutting through both pieces of fabric and not worrying about too much at the immediate moment. It's a cheeky little slide. There we are. Make sure we're cutting our notches straight because I cut some curved on accident. On accident for the shorts. And it definitely made my life a little bit harder. Now there is one arrow pointing this way on the top, but it's not actually touching the edge at all. This is not a notch to cut. This is a marker for if we were doing tank top D, which has a hood on it. So it does make, that is for like future us problems when we decide to do the one with the hood. That is not a today issue. So we do need this one. Okay. And so is that one apparently. We're gonna notch it anyways because I already touched it. Okay. All right, our snippings are done. We're gonna go back and mark our, what, one little circle, 3 little circles. These with the lines are just our bust line and our waistline. I'm going to make the executive decision to not worry about drawing those in today because we're just going to try it on when we get to a try on point anyways and decide if it looks like we want it to look. Yeah. They are, in this moment, irrelevant for our process. But I do have one little circle friend right here. And I still didn't use the blue one that I pulled out. Away with you. And just like last time, all I'm doing is pulling up the edge a little bit and mirroring that circle mark and then going back and filling it in. Cute. Then we take this and then we flip. Ciao. Flip our pattern piece over. Line our notches back up. And really I'm just going to worry about this notch over here before we cut that double. Because if that's lined up, then I know our circle will be lined up with the opposite side. Once again, we lift, we mirror, we fill it out. All right, so we take our paperweights off, move that, move this, move this thing. Lots of movement today. Okay, now remember, it has the picture with us looking at the right side of the fabric, so we're going to open this to put in the E-stitch. And I'm going to keep it right side up in my lap so I don't lose it, because fabric is really hard to tell which way is right and wrong. And then for our, again, really? I swear he's doing this to be spiteful. E-stitch. We're going to do a long stitch. So we're going to have to change our settings here away from the overlock, which is okay. We remember what we need. I'm going to move my length down to a 4. I'm going to change my stitch setting to just a standard straight stitch. And then the width doesn't matter because the needle's not going back and forth anyways. We're cutting it right down the middle. I know we do need to change it because otherwise it's going to give us that special stitch. We're just going to move it away from the 5. And we're only going down a little bit, and you're meant to put it on where your seam line is going to be, so we're going to do it on 5/8 away from the edge. And it actually has us starting at the armpit and stopping right about where that first set of where the double set of notches is, I should say. And we're going to do that on both sides. While we're stretching the fabric. We're going to make sure we leave nice long tails on here, so don't trim your thread super close to the edge. You want to have some extra so you have something to grab onto if we need to do some zhuzhing. Then we'll flip it around. Slide the fabric under so that double is right there. Oh my god, I have to sneeze, hold on. I think I figured it out. My nose bothers me so much in the morning sometimes. I think it's because he's in there tossing around his kitty litter. Which is annoying. I am traditionally lightly allergic to less feline, more so feline products. But it's over in the other corner, so you would think it's fine. But then again, he did also go by what, like twice in less than an hour? Not in a sick way. I think the first one was a poop, and the second one was a pee. Not that I'm paying that much attention to their bathroom habits. Okay, so we have our E-stitches in, so now we can move on to step 2, and we're going to finish the neck and armhole edges of the back piece. So we're going to put this to the side. I am choosing to fold it back right sides together, so I don't forget which way it's supposed to be. And then we're going to grab piece 3, or no, piece 2. Now we get to do our Frankenstein looking piece. Okay, so for this, it wants us to finish the neck and the armhole edges with a 5/8 narrow hem. So we get to the ironing part already today. Hooray! I'm going to leave the sewing machine on because we're going to come right back to it. But all we're going to do, first I'm going to unfold it, and so you guys can see what we're actually finishing. We're going to go ahead and do the finishing hem of both of the arms. So it'll be here and here, and then the center U. So if you would, to pull your attention this way, I will re-find my iron that I put away amongst everything that did not get put away. And for the new ones that don't know, and a refresher for the people that might, the narrow hem PV is done like this. We are going to first very carefully plug in the thing. There we go. We're going to fold over the edge about 5/8 and press it the whole length. And then we're going to unfold it. We're going to turn it in so the raw edge meets where we have that first line that we pressed into it. Press it again. And then when we do the actual hemming part, we'll do the half fold, then fold it the other halfway over, and we'll stitch on that. And it will end up being about the width of the overcast stitch, I believe. It's a good soup. And my edges are just a smidge jagged, so I'm going to clean them up a hair without doing anything too crazy. And then I will show you how we use this little tool in my mouth that really shouldn't be there. But it's a hem measure thing. So if you're not a fan of eyeballing stuff like I am, which is not, I'm not always a fan of eyeballing stuff. I actually want to do it the right way this time. This will help you greatly. There we go. Now, see, it wasn't bad. It was just a couple spots that I knew if I tried to hem on those spots, it was going to be a pain in the butt. All right, so we're all doing the correct math together. This is what our little hem measure thingy looks like. So it only goes up to 5. It's got a couple of different notch marks in there. It has inches on the top, centimeters on the bottom. Our inches are marked in 8ths on the top. So we are going to take the slider and line the flat edge up with 5/8. And now we have a cute little measure guide. So that's how much we're going to fold over for the first press. And we won't need it for the second press because that will be intuitive. It'll make sense once we get there, if none of this makes sense to you. But I can tell the iron is hot because I can feel the heat when I'm moving around it. So we're just going to start with one of the armholes, but I'm going to start at the bottom corner where it would rest, like right here. And I'm lining it up with the corner to get an idea. Actually, you know what? We could be extra fancy about it today and just mark it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to just mark it. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to give ourselves a dotted line instead of trying to just like measure, press, measure, press. We're going to make it really easy today. And I'm going to go back to using the blue one. Sometimes I have just the best ideas when I am saying them out loud to y'all. So because this is on a curve and my measuring line is straight, I'm not worried about making sure the straight even like kind of lines up with the curve. I'm just worried about this right here being accurate when I have the bottom blue bit at the raw edge of the fabric. The other corner I do not care about. Because if we try to do that, this would not work out very well. Well, oh, and if you're still in here, I did actually get into playing Cormon. That game I won. I did. I looked at it and was like, you know what? I think the small human can play this and they'll understand what's happening. So she was having some big feelings. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do a casual little video game play together. And so I let her take the first save slot. So that way she has her own stuff, their own character. I let her do all the customizations and whatnot. And it's fun. It's really cute. It is like Stardew Valley, what did I say? Stardew Valley, Animal Crossing, and Pokemon had a baby. So we very much enjoy it. I will have to do a peen stream and actually play the game for the masses. But what I love the most about that game is the settings for the difficulty level. You've played almost none of the games in your Valid. Dizzle did say you have quite a collection. And also the wheel has very, very, very small, very little skinny bars. So yeah, I probably could have assumed, didn't want to. But yeah, Cormon is good. I will have to say something in your stream next time. So if other people want to get it, they know it's legit. Or if someone else wins it, I'll give them my unbiased review. But the settings for the difficulty level, you can make it heckin' easy or you can make it disgustingly hard. Like it's rough. And of course I set everything to disgustingly easy for the small one. So, you know, she can actually like try and play the game by herself a little bit. Because it is... I don't expect her to be able to read all of it, but it's intuitive enough that she can like figure it out as she's going, which I would like to instill that sense of logic into her mind now. Be a good thing to do. And I'm cheating and using the edge of the hem allowance thing to get it started. But it is metal, so I'm not going to use it for the whole thing. I just wanted a good clean press in the first part. But yeah, the easy setting is, oh, your Pokemon basically never die and everything's always okay, and there's always like a place to go heal your Pokemon up. Hooray! And hard mode is stuff like, I think the setting that I saw that I really liked was if you're in the middle of a battle and your Pokemon faints, it will run away from you to the wild. And it's gone. And I was like, that's such a great, like, yeah, I'm going to play that setting. I hear rustling in the eaves, so I'll be right back. I'm going to go make sure the other small one is okay so everyone can appreciate the BRB screen. I will be back in like 3 minutes. Ish. The light of my life has arisen, but they are currently entertained. They managed to download a bunch of extra games and stuff to their tablet the other day, so we can carry on. Like we're talking about anything crazy in here anyways. Yeah, Cormon, 10 out of 10. I think it's really cute. I think it's really cute. Now, this little part is going to give us a problem. So to ease it, we're going to make a snip snip. A snip snip. Okay, if you hear me muting myself a lot, it's because I have to course correct. The small. We're working on boundaries today. Working on boundaries today and listening to instructions. Should be a school lesson by itself, in my humble opinion. So I'm just pressing up from the other side to about where this is about to be problematic. And because this does not want to fold down. So I did that on purpose so I can kind of see where the flat edge is to figure out where I need to give this a little snip snip. It looks like it's going to be right about here. So I'm not cutting this all the way down to our colored line. Just getting close. Okay, hold on. Sorry, I could hear the tinkling of small animal creatures getting louder. The saxophones were getting louder. All right, and that's perfect. That one little notch resolved all of our life problems. Man, sometimes those little animated games don't sound that quiet until it, like, something starts talking. Okay, so we have the 5/8 line pressed down. I'm gonna go ahead and unfold this and do the next part, so you guys can kind of see the whole thing start to finish instead of doing everything a little piece at a time. All right, so we do not need to measure the next bit. I'm gonna start down here at the bottom edge, make sure you can kind of see. So I'm gonna unfold it and then fold the raw edge up to where we just ironed it down at. And then we press. And your corner over here isn't going to line up perfectly. It's going to look like it's off center a little bit. It's not. It's because you're on a curve. I'm saying that for me and for y'all. It's because we're doing this on a curve. Now you may feel like you need to do another nip right here. You might not need to. I got it. I thought I was going to have to for a second, but it's behaving quite well. Quite well. And we're not going to worry about the gap where that notch is for the immediate moment. It will, it should resolve itself when we fold it all the way over. Bless you. Bless the small one. Yeah. Oh, laptop. Silly laptop things. Because I've been tracking my RAM and CPU usage. It ain't great. It's not great. But, you know, I shouldn't expect it to be fabulous because I am working with an Intel i5 chip, which is the bottom tier of the last generation of chips. Because it was i5, i7, I looked it up, that it was i5, 7, 9, and there's the new chipsets, which I think they started to put artificial intelligence integration into it at that point. Which I'm still coming to terms with that. It being just like naturally a part of the tech. It's funny, I'm so hesitant considering my current day job, but I went looking to see if I could switch out the processor because I've done enough laptop work. I am not afraid of gutting it out and changing things. But the processor is molded onto the motherboard. So if I want to upgrade anything, I think I can change out the RAM cards and force them into a higher grade. But I have to get a new laptop. It's not a problem right now. It's just if I have too many situations where I'm running too high. And it's just OBS. OBS is her big beautifulness is just poor laptop can't handle the heat. All right, so we have folded in the raw edge and pressed it to where we made our 5/8 press line. Just getting it one more cheeky go through. So now at this point, we just take the raw edge in and then we fold it up to the 5/8 line. Now, because we have to do this for 2 other sections, I am going to pin it. You shouldn't have to pin it. I'm going to pin it. especially because of how, like, the texture of this fabric. It's a little wonky. Sometimes it wants to do things by itself. But I don't want to lose it. It looks really pretty right now, and I don't want to lose that while we're working on the other sections of this. So I'm putting in just a couple of pins to help keep it in place. Go over there, iron. And now that we folded it right where that notch is, it is almost exactly flat like it was before we notched it. Ta-da! Everything worked out. Okay. Phew. All right, we're good. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Yeah, if you're using like a... Hold that thought. I doubt y'all can actually hear it, but I can hear it. It's just a little overstimulating at the moment. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, if you got something a little stiffer, this wouldn't be such a... Oh god, we need to preserve the hemline situation. It would probably just stay. Because it's a squirrely little jersey knit. I also firmly believe in just not giving something the opportunity to muck up. If you're that worried about it. Alright, excellent. So that is one narrow hem ready to go. Folded, rolled, beautiful. Gorgeous, gorgeous girl. Now I gotta do it 20 billion more times. Yeah. And for where we put in that overlock seam in the center, I think we're just gonna fold it over and it's just gonna be a little thick right there. And I'm gonna change my needle out. Oh. Sorry, I forgot to change my needle. Well, it's doing fine. This fabric is also very stretchy, so the needle doesn't have to do too much work in it, so we'll just leave it for right now. But that needle should still be sharp enough to get through that without having any major breakdowns. I'm just gonna make sure this still is 5/8 and move that. This thing about having too many flat surfaces in my sewing area, start sticking stuff in random places. This one almost reminds me of Kingdom Hearts in a way. Sometimes when we're listening to these like lo-fi situations, I can hear like samplings that are in other things or close to other things. Like that one that sounds like the intro to Sewing with Nancy. Fonz and Porter, one of them. And so if you care that much to see if I'm right or not, I'm sure you can find a clip on YouTube of the intro, or PBS might even just have the episodes where you can go back and watch them. I don't know. Mama has them DVR'd at her house, so whenever I'm hanging out, like helping do things around the house, I put on my little background sewing program and go to town. But it's so cool. Like if you like stop and listen to some of your favorite things, you can hear where things like little samples of instruments or like beats get used in all kinds of different places. It's really cool. It's really cool. Music is universal. Bless you. I had to tell her Grammy was watching. She needed to check herself. She's okay. She and I suffer from... Neither one of us get enough rest last night, so of course her poor old nose is having a time. As for someone that didn't fall asleep till 10:30 last night, they are wide awake at 7:45. Wild behavior. So for anyone that's jumping in now or has been hanging out going, what the heck are we doing? We're working on a tank top from our shorts pattern we worked on the other day. It was the McCalls M7610. And we're working on tank top style B that has like a peekaboo back fabric with no additional alterations. So no hood, no weird twisty thing. It's just a so. Well, press, mark, press. So that's probably the more accurate order of events we're going through here. And we're probably gonna have to notch out this curve as well. And that's okay, we're just not gonna stress about it until we get there. Because there ain't nothing wrong with waiting, and it would be my luck that we tried to notch it now and then we notched the wrong spot and then it's all janky. I'm sad. It's Monday, no sads here. Good vibes only. So we can all have a cheery start to our week, or try to. But if you need to run on sad girl hours today or sad boy hours, that's fine too. There's no shame in having a sads day. Sometimes they're good to have. Maybe finishing this today was a little ambitious. I had high hopes yesterday because I was like, man, there's only so many instructions. And then it's like my subconscious sees all the ironing and stuff and just preemptively blocks it out so I forget. And then I sit down to actually deal with it. It's like, crap, I have to iron everything 20 million times. It's gonna take freaking forever. But it's okay. We're doing it slow and purposeful, so it should come out really, really good. Because the quality of work does show itself when you're rushing and when you're not. But if you're out in the garden, but it's just... Oh, it could be me. It could be... I don't know what to tell you, Grammy. Because if it was fine before you left the house... And now it's... Well, I guess that's the first question is, was it buffering bad when you were still at the house? That's the first question. Because if it was fine and now it's not, I'm going to go with that's probably your service in the garden is terrible. Trying to keep up with Twitch right now. Bless you. But if it was bad and it's still bad, that's me, and that's because my processor is running at 100 miles an hour, and I think my CPU is in the 90s. For those that don't do tech, probably don't care, but for the ones that do, you know, it's not. Subpar. I had Streamlabs, I had the desktop app installed, and I thought that was mucking me up, so I uninstalled it. Just use the browser version now for my needs. Which I may delete it. I thought I would get more use out of the features on it. But then I got to looking at the overlays and stuff, and I realized I don't really need that because I kind of made my own screen. Like, I want to zhuzh it around a little bit. Like, obviously, there's always room for improvement. I just don't... The overlays that are on there, they all seem to be catered towards gaming. I think is my personal grievance with it. I don't know what 9 means. Because I am so sure I did not ask you anything that had to do with the number 9. Good morning, Dizzle. Oh, Simon ain't yet. There is no snack redemption today because I didn't put it in yet because we don't need it right now. So Grammy was supposed to tell me if her lag was bad at the house, and she didn't, so she may have left. Which is fine, she's out working in the garden anyways. She's busy. Okay, we might have to ease a little bit of this. So I'm gonna... Oh, I did turn it off. Freak of nature. Okay. Freak of nature that I am, I turned it off. What the fuck redemption is that? Hold on. What is that? Yeah, get started. What did it... The amount of sass coming from that 5-year-old. Someone should study it. What the heck is chaos? I didn't do... Hold on, I'm so confused. Because that's not my... That's not my reward redemption. I'm like checking to make sure I'm not crazy. It's too early. You can't drive me crazy. Ah, don't do that. Stop! Don't do that. You will. Look, I am not immune to, what's it called in that stinking Call of Cthulhu game? Insanity points? I'm not immune. It did work. It worked really well. King Art used confusion. Sip-and-So is now confused. Can't use function like a normal person. Yeah, that definitely worked. What the hell? See, I need to... It's too early. I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, so it worked like extra well. That's why I'm using my emotional support coffee cup instead of my dedicated Monday coffee cup. Because I need to be supported emotionally. Chaos. Need you understand, that gave me a whole stinking panic with the way my laptop's been running today for 16 hours. Jeez! Alright, I'll shut up. Dang. Dang. That's crazy. Oh, did you have a good vacation? Because you were on vacation. I was like... I was so confused yesterday because I was like, why aren't I getting any Twitch notifications? I was like, oh yeah, it's because vacation. V important for the mental health. Okay, really quick actual sewing commentary because we're coming into this curve. I'm going to flatten this in the center really quick and then decide if we need to come back in here and notch anything to give it some ease. And I'm taking personal preference and pushing this to the left. Doesn't matter, you could fold it over to the right if you had to do a similar Frankenstein situation. It's just my choice today. You're totally phoning it in. Oh, hell yeah. Come on, thing. All right, hold on. I need like all of my brain cylinders for this. Hang on. Okay, yes, good. So just like the other piece, it is now standing up by itself because it does not want to lay down. So now we can notch, 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 notch. We're gonna put it in right here, I think. There we go. Yeah, if I did all that driving, I could not be bothered to actually walk into a day job. Could not. All right, perfect. And look, it naturally wants to lay down by itself. Hooray! Measures this around. And we're going to run into the same issue on this side. So I'm just going to go all the way to the top here and come in this way. So that way we have an accurate representation of where we need to trim that or nick the seam, notch it. But the the youngling is being quite reasonable about the situation. So I think we are getting to a place where we can stream for extended periods of time without having to be on small child guard. Today could also be a fluke, so we'll have to see how tomorrow goes. All right, I'm just going to kind of sort of lay the curved bit up here. I think I can get a little bit further around. But after this, I will be joining everyone in the concept of actual work. Not that this isn't work, but you know, the day job bit. There. And something worth saying out loud, if you notched it and realize you notched it in the wrong spot, or you need another notch, that's okay. There is not a complete limit on how many times you can notch this. I will say if you do them all too close together, you're just going to be missing a ton of fabric and you might not be able to finish your hem, but within reason, you can make a crap ton of notches. Like I could have done one every couple of blocks. I just didn't need it, so I didn't do it. But if you would feel more comfortable putting in 20 billion notches, you do that. You do whatever makes you happy. I don't think we heard this song yesterday. Either that or I was too engrossed in the process to hear. Which is probably what happened. Also, I was very incorrect yesterday when I said I will be going to my aunt's house to work on the quilt Friday. We're going Thursday, and that's because my darling aunt is coming into town, and she, I think, is going to be taking Fridays, like, you know, the break you need before you need to finish your vacation. The break for the break. Because she'll have a good bit of driving to do, I think. So Thursday might be a shorter stream. Just a little bit. So I can make sure I get up to my mama's house in time so we can ride together. Which is going against my deep ingrained belief that I always need to drive myself to places in case there's an emergency. It's a very silly paranoia, I think, and I'm not sure where it stems from. Oh yeah, I know exactly where it stems from. Never mind. Never mind. That's a story for another day. But regardless, I'm trying to work on those things here and there. When I think about them and I realize they're not serving me a purpose anymore. Plus, soon I want to spend more time with my mommy. Ouch. It's going to be a 1 for the Jen got poked counter. That's what I would like to add. I would like to add a thing that I myself or someone, you know, like the general population could add a tick to the stab counter every time I accidentally like attempt to put a pin through my own skin. Because sometimes the answer is 0, and sometimes the answer is 10 or more. It would be a fun little data set to see if there's a common theme as to why and how I stab my, like, you know, I'm having a particularly emotional morning and that's what's causing me so much pain. Or if I'm just having a klutz day. I don't know. All right. So we have our rolled in section pressed. I'm not going to turn it off this time. And we're just going to go ahead and start the rolling process and make sure that when we put the pins in, they're going in a direction that will prevent us from being stabbed when we put it under the sewing machine. Which I think is going to be that way. I definitely put those in the wrong way. Whatever. Moral of the story, I'm getting stabbed in one way or another. Stab, 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 stab. And again, you certainly don't have to pin this. I am choosing to due to the nature of the fabric. Because this stuff, when you fold it and start manipulating it, it squishes around. It doesn't want to just stay in one spot. And to save me the heartache, we're just pinning it in. Plus we've got to do the other armhole seam too. And I'd hate for us to lose all of our hard work by just moving the fabric around. If this feels like it's taking forever, it's because I'm doing my best to try and not stab the board so I don't have to move everything around a bunch. Let's see, what else was I thinking about this weekend? I was thinking about holiday stuff for us as a collective for the Chanel. Ouch. Maybe a general ouch counter would make more sense. But I was thinking about doing a sew-along thing and a giveaway thing, getting closer to the Christmas. Because honestly, okay, so here's what my initial thought process was, because I was talking it through with Mom and Pops the other day just to get some general feedback. And what we kind of came down to was it would be fun to do like a block a day, sewing a different block for like a little lap quilt or something every day in November. And then when we're done, you can either A, raffle away the blanket. So if you like it, you can enter yourselves for, you know, or raffle. Almost said enter yourselves for a chance to win. I'm like, that is such that is not cute language. That's standard TV language. We don't do that here. I thought that would be fun. That way everyone can kind of follow along and see if it's something you'd actually be super into, and away it goes. And if no one wants it, it will get donated. And then Pops had the super cool suggestion of making you guys like sew along packets. And we'll do we could do a sew along for the squares through November. And then if you liked it and you want to do your own, I can pre-cut out the pieces for you. And then you can go back through and watch the VODs and stitch away. And the good news is, by then, I will most likely be of an affiliate status. So the VODs will be there for longer than 7 days. They'll hang around for 14, but regardless, I do upload 99.9% of my videos to the YouTube for archive purposes. I don't stream on YouTube. I can't do it, but I do like knowing all my things are in a visible place. So, well, think about it. Number one, if you're not following, you should follow, so you get your cute little notifications when we go live. And it's usually the official pinned in schedule right now is going to be Monday through Friday, with Fridays leaning short anyways, because I have people that I want to watch on Fridays and I can't watch if I'm streaming. So like Art streams Friday mornings usually. I think Tannhauser starts at some point. Someone else. Yeah, we tried streaming yesterday morning. It was not conducive to the functionality of the situation. We got a lot of projects to get through, so 5 days a week is not an abnormal amount for moi. Got stuff to do, things to see. Yeah, I'd love it if you're not following to go ahead and give a follow. Yeah, I went and I was like, I check my stuff too often, but I am like a whisper away from Twitch saying I have enough standing in the community that they'll allow me to start making funds, which is pretty great, which has been the goal the whole time, you know. And I started streaming in what, April? Maybe? April-ish? May? I don't even remember. It's been so long. Yeah, I love my community. I love everyone that has been here from the beginning, those who have jumped in the middle, and those who will come in at the end. It brings me unparalleled amounts of joy to be able to share this process with you guys. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And honestly, I'd love to just do this all day for the rest of my life. That would be top tier. I'm also trying to be better about verbalizing these types of things to other people than myself and the voices. But seriously, thank you, everybody that's been here and stuck around. You are priceless. And I am ever grateful to have you here. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you don't follow me on my other socials or haven't been here for the last couple of streams, I have decided that I am going to put in a quilt for the Quilting Expo competition next year. They're taking their final submissions today. I didn't know until a week ago, and I was like, there's no way I am getting a submission in by August. I'm like, that's so not realistic. That being said, we have time to plan for next year. And I decided I'm going to do that. So part of our holiday plans will be getting prepped for that, because I don't want to start it next year. I want to at least have a concept of what is going to happen before the turn of the year. So I would also like to put it into the state fair, because my favorite part of the North Carolina State Fair is the village of yesteryear. It used to be the rides. I used to be a big ride junkie, and now I want to go look at the pretty blankets. I want to go look at the big vegetables. I want to go look at the cows. I want to go look at the rabbit. Like, I want to see the big tractors. I want to go get my apple cider. Like, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. It just feels like the natural progression of life right now would be for Need to put in a thing. So that's the plan. So on top of doing, you know, we can do both things. We'll just, oh no, we'll have to stream for longer amounts of time. How terrible. Okay, I'm so torn up about it, but we'll probably start that, we'll probably start working on that. What month are we in? August. Because I have to incorporate school things for the small one now too. August, September. We might start discussing it in better detail in September. There are lots of clothing things I would like to make the closer we get to the fall months too. My birthday is in October, so I would like to make a birthday fit on stream. It has some very choice Stevie Nicks looking skirt patterns to get through. So we'll definitely work on those. I'm just gonna start having a lot of really fat streams the closer we get to the holidays is what I'm thinking here. Like, normally we get in about 2, sometimes 3 hours. That once we start getting closer to the holidays, it might trickle up towards 4, maybe even 5, you know? Let's go for gold. But at least for November, every day will probably be a quilt a square day. And then we'll do a little something on the side. And obviously, I'm going to do a lot of planning in my own free time, right? Like, I'm not going to make you guys sit through my whole process. The first order of business is figuring out if I can use that sunbonnet Sue pattern. And if not, then I'm going to have to start going through a blocking process, which will be pretty exciting. Actually, I just had an idea. I don't want to share it with you yet, though. I need to marinate on it some more. But I had a thought bubble about ways to alter that sunbonnet Sue to make it very original. So we'll see what happens. All right, we're on the last section. So we have done the narrow hem on the one armhole, the quote unquote neck situation. Now we're doing the other armhole. And then we can actually do some stitching today. I told y'all yesterday this was going to be a lot of ironing. And also, please know you do not have to have a little mini thing to do this. If you have a full-size iron at home, use your full-size iron. Don't go. Like, if you would prefer to have a small one, great, do that. But don't feel obligated to spend the money if you don't have to. In this economy, no. Hi everyone who is just popping in. Thank you for joining. We are working on a tank top from McCalls 7610 pattern set. We worked on the shorts the other day. We are working on one of the tank top designs today with minimal things. Just need to put in a little notch right here. But we are in the arduous process of pressing out a narrow hem. So that's the thing. There's only, what did I say yesterday? Like 8 instructions? Like there's only 8 little blocks of instructions. But almost every single one of them involves pressing fabric to some degree. So the quantity of instructions is small. The quantity of many steps within the instructions is very large. All right, so we press down our 5/8. We're gonna unroll it. We're gonna move our raw edge to where we made that 5/8 line and press again. And the more you do it, the faster it gets. Alright, while I'm thinking about it, if you didn't see the pattern selection yet, we're working on this one, the blue tank top. It has a regular front, a regular back piece, and then there's like a peekaboo fabric, which is what this is going to be. This pink and white checkered is going to peek out from the pink in the back. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna get the first and the third from Dizzle later because I didn't put in that stinking snack redemption code. Yeah. Not that I woke up with time to have any snacks prepped anyways, but I'm sure we'll have a discussion about that later. All right, so now we have pressed our 5/8 and we've pressed our half, tuck and roll, and pin. So yeah, we are going to be some busy stinking bodies this year. I can't wait to share it with you guys. The only thing I made a promise to myself once I got all this hordes of fabric from my mom's house. I shouldn't have to buy fabric again for a considerable amount of time. I've got something for all the patterns I intend on using this year. But I would like a handful of Halloween fabrics for Halloween things. I don't know if they'll get any though. If I see a good deal somewhere or something, I might be I might break it. Maybe, I don't know. Feeling guilty just thinking about it. Because I've got to give you context on how much fabric is actually in this house right now. I have my little yellow side basket over here, which has my current fabric selection. So this is everything that we're trying to work through right now to get through some of our scrap things. I also have a 10-gallon tote underneath my desk that has some stuff in it. It's mostly fabric. And then there is a small, 2.5-gallon size tote thing with fabric in it. It's a lot of summer stuff that has my bathing suit fabric in it that I needed to pull back out. And then there's another full tub of more fabric, another 10-gallon. So when I say we have enough, at least for garment sewing and maybe one or two quilt things, we have plenty. I don't know if Mommy has any Halloween fabric she can share. My mom is not. My mom does not do the spooky season that much. It's not her favorite. Mom's a Christmas gal, which I feel like a lot of sewers are. So she's always had a minimal amount of Halloween fabric, or bought it specifically for things and not extra. I wonder if I ask Mommy Dearest pretty please. All right, so we're about to stitch our narrow hems down. So I have a Molly A-line series. It has an overlock. It is a special stitch. We are going to use that. So I went over it at the beginning of the video, but I'll kind of give you the verbal rundown now. The length knob is being set to SS for special stitches. I'm assuming that's what it stands for. My overlock is on H, so I'm going to use my pattern selector and crank that bad boy over. And then the critical step I missed with the shorts. We're going to change the width, and we're going to slide it all the way to the 5, because the 5 on this machine has double lines underneath it, and that is the indication that that is what needs to be selected for the specialty stitches. And it is just wide enough that it will catch on the hem. So I'm just going to slide this in here, and when you're selecting it to start, it should put your needle all the way over to the left anyways. So I'm going to make sure that is in there like swimwear. I'm going to slide out my first pin. I'm going to turn around to check on the small one. I was getting started for the day. I had to make a promissory 15-minute snuggle plan with the small one. So we're going to stitch this thing and probably call it, and we will finish it tomorrow. And I will be closer to on time tomorrow. And of course, because this is like... Ah, of course it did. Sometimes with this fabric, my feed dogs get a little angry and they don't want to feed the fabric, so we gotta give it a little bit of help. There it goes. And we are stretching both sides as we're sewing, as instructed by the instructions. Now you certainly don't have to use an overlock for this. You could just use a straight stitch. I'm trying to get more practice in with using overlocks and things, especially until we get the serger ready to rock. An update on the serger. It's fine, it's not broken or anything. I'm just missing the T-bar that actually holds your thread to keep it from getting tangled. And because the machine is using 3 to 4 things of thread at a time, that's kind of important. So I'm trying to decide if it's worth ordering one or jerry-rigging it. Okay, I thought I dropped a pin. It was just my hem thingy clinking around. Get over here. But anyways, it's not the end of the world. It's just I'm not going to be able to effectively use it right now. But everything else looks great. Like, I opened it up, made sure everything else was how it should be. Verify that the mechanics are all working properly. So it looks good. It's just missing one little thing. And the difference between doing it on that versus doing it on this is it'll be a little bit more secure. So this is loungy athletic wear. so I'm not as worried about the sturdiness of the stitch right now. But because I will eventually be working with actual athletic fabric, like your yoga pant material, I'm going to want the serger for that. Yep. It's okay. All right, that one was too loud. Silliness. Be right back, guys. Okay. All right, let's power through this. We can do it. There's our little halfway point. And good news, it did just lay into that seam like butter. And my hem unrolled a little bit, so I'm just gonna lovingly fold it back in where it's supposed to be. There we are. And the one thing to note too, as you're coming up towards the anywhere that you notched at, it might try spreading a little bit, so just keep an eye on it while your machine's moving it down. There it goes. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I have officially capped out the amount of patience I can probably squeeze out of a 5-year-old. So we're going to finish sewing all these little narrow hems down, and then we're going to call it for this morning. So next time, so tomorrow, we will move on to the next piece, which I believe is More of the same. But theoretically faster. Now that we've got a good, ouch, handle on the situation. Stick and broke my nail. Almost. Almost. I'll tell you one thing for certain though, I will be getting a solid 6 hours of sleep a night. So I will not be doing 2 nights in a row of shady hours. All right, that is our first hemline done. So I will hold this up so you guys can kind of see how it's finished from the inside. Actually, I'm going to put it in the upper camera. It'll give you a little bit better. So there's our inside seam. And then that is how it's going to look from the front. Very cute, very profesh. As profesh as we can get from this kind of machine. Now, I am choosing to not stab myself, so I'm not really sewing to any particular guide. I'm just going down the middle of it, so I'm going to flip my fabric around. So it's going through the throat. So that way I can pull my pins out without stabbing myself properly. This is very awkward to do it backwards, but lesson learned for next time. Alright, that's one armhole. Not break my stinking needle doing that. And the last one. Yep, just give it a pin. I'm going to start it ahead a little bit so we can avoid the feed dog issue from the first round. There it goes. Drag. I'm looking at how much thread I've got in the bobbin. We might need to refill that tomorrow. We're going to use what's in it first, and then if we need to put some more, we'll put some more. Put that up there so it's not dragging to the ground. Last inch, last inch. Huzzah! All right, we have the narrow hem done on 1 of 3 pieces. Which is better than none of 3 pieces. But there we go. We are going to be ready to rock tomorrow, I think. Yeah. All right, come on, Epidemic Sounds. Oh, it's because it was the bottom of the playlist. Okay, perfect. All right, we have stretched our luck with the small one waking up as early as they did today. So we're going to call it here. I'm going to fold this back, correct sides together, put it with the rest of the fabric. So we'll be back and doing it all again tomorrow. The next thing we'll be doing the same situation with piece 3. And the back piece. Yeah. So tomorrow we'll start with doing pattern piece 2. Oh no, we did 2, 3, 1. Okay, never mind. So yeah, so tomorrow we will do the narrow hem on piece 3, which is going to be the piece with the very skinny back section. And then I think we can start the construction right after. The front piece does not get a narrow hem until the very end. So we'll do more narrow hemming tomorrow, a little bit of construction, a little bit of hem, and then the very last thing, yes, we'll be doing the narrow hem on the front piece. All right, so we have a plan of attack. We will probably have to rethread the bobbin after we do all that narrow hemming. But I am going to play you guys out with some jams. Thank you so much for coming to Sip and Sew. It was very lovely to have everybody here. If you're not following already, hit the follow button so you get the notification when we go live tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and all those days up till Thursday. But with that, I hope everyone has a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your workday if you're already there. If you're just heading in, I hope everything is smooth sailing. But without further ado, that's a wrap for me. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Bye!